You know, we got Greg in the house, Greg Armstrong. Ben, how long have you been a season ticket holder for?
I've been a season ticket holder now since the 91-92 season. So that's 28 years. The first year that I was a season ticket holder was when Pat Riley, when he came to coach the Knicks, and
Yep.
I was really excited that he was going to coach the team that I was hoping that we would get a championship while he was there. So that was the first year that I bought season tickets.
Oh, wow. Well, that's been a long time since then. It's been a long couple, last 27, 28 years.
Yeah, it was really good. Like in the 90s, we had a good team every year. When Patrick Ewing, of course, was there, with John
John
Starks,
Stark,
yeah,
Spree,
Anthony
at the
Mason, you
uh,
know,
uh, um, Ward Johnson, at the end, and Chris Childs, and now in Houston, you know.
right, right, exactly. 94, was the year that we went to the finals. I mean,
Yep.
94 and 99. 94, I think that was our best chance to win a championship because Michael Jordan the Bulls would always come in our way, and it was
Yep.
difficult for us to get over that hump. And that year he went to play baseball.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there wasn't really no opposition in the East. I mean, we had great wars with Miami, of course, and great wars
In
with Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah, but we were able to get to the finals that year. But Akeem
Hakeem
Olajuwon,
Olajuwon
yeah, it was
walked
just a
at
little
the
bit
top.
too much.
Yep. That was. And how long, when did you start becoming a fan?
I started becoming a fan when I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old. When did you start coming? Let me
So
ask you a question.
I I started becoming a fan around so I was like it was around that 2012-13 season. That's when
Yeah,
that was the Knicks tape season. I still call it that. People can hate on it and say all they want about Knicks tape and that hashtag.
yeah.
But I but that's my team. That was like what got me into the Knicks and that.
How old were you then?
I was in kindergarten, a 6 year old.
Wow. Yeah, you started really young.
I started
So
really young. Yep.
I was 8 years old, and my brother was a big Knick fan at that time. And me and my brother, we shared a room together. And on the pictures, all around the room, he had posters of Walt Frazier. He was a big Walt Frazier fan.
Of course. Shot
Yeah. So
high.
yeah, so back then, Walt Frazier was the man. So, just from watching games on TV, we used to watch games on Channel 9 together, and from then, I just became a fan. I used to just watch games all the time from 1973 on.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and we haven't won the chip since '73.
Right,
And
exactly.
it's
It's
really
funny because
heartbreaking, but shout out to that team with Walt Frazier and Willis Reed, of course.
yep, they were a great team. The way they played is something that to this day a lot of people talk about because they played as a team. They played with a lot of teamwork, and there wasn't really like I mean, even though Walt Frazier and Reed were like the biggest stars, but they shared the ball. If you were open, you shot the ball. If you weren't open, you passed it, and
Very
that's just the
different
way.
to today.
Yeah, very different today. Today you have maybe 2, 3 guys on the team that's designated as the scorers, and they'll take most of the shots. But with that team, it was just a nice camaraderie among the guys. They all worked together as a one unit. It was beautiful basketball. So
Yeah,
hopefully one day we could get back to that.
hopefully. That's like the opposite the Houston Rockets are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 That's ISO ball at to the that's kind of like boring to watch. You know, when
Yeah,
you see James Harden, I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but when you just see him just dribbling the ball, and everybody else is just standing in the corner, you know, it's just not, you know, fun basketball to watch. You
of
know, even though he's
course,
a great player.
of course, of course. But yeah, that look, they still win. But now going to the current times, one thing that we haven't had since uh, Mr. Clyde Frazier himself is a point guard. And this was our off season to get it. And here we are having this talk again that we've
Yeah,
been having for years.
yeah, it's been a long, frustrating search to have a decent point guard. I remember when maybe 19, I want to say 87, we drafted Mark Jackson, who was a local New York kid from Queens, played at St. John's,
Yep,
and he was a terrific point guard. And the Knicks also drafted the next year. They drafted Rod Strickland, who was from the Bronx,
of course, Rod Strick.
and you know he was another great point guard. And we had the two of them on our roster, and we traded both of those guys. We traded both of them away. You know, it's like I didn't understand it at the time. I was like, man, we got two homegrown point guards. You know, they're both pretty good, and we traded both of them. And you know, we've been having a lot of problems for years with point guards. We had Stephon Marbury at one time. You know, remember him, right? You heard it,
Yeah,
right? And he was good, but it just didn't work with him. He individually, he put up good numbers for himself, but the team, the units, they didn't really mesh. That's when Isaiah Thomas, when he was in charge, and a lot of things didn't work out there in the 2000s. Um, you know, so yeah, we definitely dropped the ball this year on getting a point guard. I was hoping that we could get LaMelo Ball in the draft, but we finished a little bit too high. We finished up eighth, and I was hoping that maybe we might be able to trade down into the draft to get him, but they weren't able to do that. You know, but you know, I mean, we picked up Austin Rivers. You know, he should be able to help us. We still got Dennis Smith Jr. You know, hopefully they're going to try to work with him this year. Maybe they could, the new regime, maybe they could turn him into a better player. We got Tibbs coming in. We got some new coaches, new player development guys coming in. So hopefully they can work with Frank and they can work with Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, who knows? You know, sometimes these young guys, they come into the league, it takes them a couple of years before they can actually, you know, get to a top level.
of course. I know it's gonna take a long time, and I want Chris Paul to come in. I thought that he would help out our young guys.
I agree. I wanted him too. I thought that would have been a good situation. You know, I know that he was getting paid a lot of money, and a lot of Knicks fans, they didn't want to bring him on because of that. But I thought that his leadership and what he did last year for Oklahoma City for guys like Shea Gilgis Alexander and Dennis Schroeder, he really helped those guys out. You know, he did a nice job with those guys.
Yeah, he did amazing guy time with Shay and that. He definitely took him to the next level.
Right,
And
exactly.
though look, I wanted a Lamelo Ball in the draft, but I'm very happy with Obi Toppin.
Yes, absolutely. Very happy with Obi Toppin. The future looks like it's bright for him. He was had a standout college career last year, player of the year in college, local kid. Went to Ossining High School for 2 years, you know, which is kind of cool to have a guy that's like, you know, from the New York area, born in Brooklyn.
Of
You know,
course.
it was kind of cool to see that on draft night. He was really excited to
Yeah,
become a Knick. You know, I mean, when you're from New York, it even like it's something even more special. So for him, I think that he's really going to wear the uniform with pride, and I think you know I got a good feeling about him. You know, I think he's going to be solid for us.
I definitely think he'll be solid, and we've needed a stretch four since KP left. We've That's one thing that we were also desperate for. Well, we're desperate for everything, because we are the Knicks, of course, and it was definitely not a good roster last season, let's admit. And I felt that we really need a stretch four, and Obi Toppin brings that. He's a stretch four that can shoot. He can he can his only problem is defense, but we got a defensive coach.
Right,
So,
right. That
and
help him out. We got some good coaches there. We got some good player development coaches. We have Kenny Payne from Kentucky, who was with Coach Calipari at the University of Kentucky.
yeah,
He's one of the player development coaches with the Knicks, and his primary job is going to be to develop the big guys on the team. And from doing some research on him, he really pushes the players hard and really tries to get the most out of them. And we also know that Coach Tibbs is a
and
defensive
Coach
coach.
Woody.
We also have Coach Woody, who's another defensive, coach who definitely instills defensive principles. So I think that, to me, defense is all about effort. If you want to get better on defense, you can. And I think that he has all the tools. He has the athletic ability. He has the size. He has the height. He can jump. He blocks shots. So that's one good thing. So I just think that he needs to, it puts the work in, and I'm confident that he could be a good two-way player for us.
Yeah, I think that no, he's not a project, but I feel that he can definitely. I think that if he can at least get his defense average, and I think he will, I have no doubts of ability of his defense. I think that hey, he's not good at it right now, but he'll be good at it by midway, like by February or March next of this season. He'll be able to be playing on the defensive end in a crunch time game.
Absolutely, I think so too. I think you'll see him, and I think you also see Mitch, of course. And the two big guys together on the front line. I think that will help us, like down toward the, by the basket.
Yep.
Having those two athletic bigs, and also the acquisition of Nerlens Noel that we picked up yesterday. I think he's going to help us. He's another guy that plays good defense, that blocks shots, is a good rim protector.
Amari Spellman.
Yes, we could pick up Spellman. He could be another stretch four. He can shoot the ball from long distance. With him, I think the main thing with him is getting his weight under control. He's a little bit
Yeah,
chunky,
yeah,
so I think the coaches are going to have to work with him to get him in better shape.
of course.
But he had a nice career at Villanova, and he could be, he could be a sleeper. He could be one of those guys that you never know. He might be able to really give us some good minutes off the bench.
Of course. I think that he could give us some good minutes. But at the same exact time, we still have Julius Randle, which is a huge there's no hate here, but Julius Randle, I feel, is just um I just feel that he's not like the I feel Julius Randle, he is so self-centered when it comes to playing like his game in that.
Yeah,
He can't really help other players.
right, right. Yeah, I just think that he's just not a good fit for this team. The way they want to play. They want to be able to get everybody involved and not have the ball go into one person's hand and have it stick. Sometimes he has a tendency to dribble into traffic and create a lot of turnovers for himself. And his 3-point shot is inconsistent. And today, you need to have your bigs to be able to shoot from long
Yeah,
distance. It really helps. It really helps with spacing to keep the court open so that your guards can penetrate, so that they can drive the lane. But if your big guys are just clogging up the middle, then it's
that's why
really not good.
he was huge, and that's why players like that's why I want Gallinari back. That before we signed Obi Toppin, one of the guys who drafted him. Also, one of the guys I consider was Gallinari coming back. Well, that didn't happen, but he would have been a good fit for us, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Gallo
that's
was cool. Ga-
yeah.
Gallo was cool. I remember when he was a rookie, and I got to meet him at one of the Knicks season ticket holder events, and he was just quiet, really a nice kid. He was just coming over, to the states, and innocent, quiet, didn't talk too much, but he really his game really expanded. After he left the Knicks, even when he was with the Knicks, like the year before he left.
Right before the
Um,
Mellow trade.
right, exactly. Him, Felton, they were really and Mari, they were really starting to have some chemistry there.
Yep.
So the only problem with him was that he had a lot of injuries,
That's
throughout his
true.
career. So I was kind of worried about that. If we brought him back, if you gave him a big contract, would he stay healthy? The Knicks have gotten burned in the past with a lot of players with giving them these contracts, and then they get hurt, and then you're stuck. So, but I always like Gallinari. Gallinari is definitely a good player. He's down in Atlanta, I heard,
Yep. With
right?
the Young and them.
Yeah.
Rolling down there too.
Yeah. They said it looks like they're gonna have a nice situation down there.
Yeah. But how do you rate the Knicks free agency signs? To be honest, for me, I'm very I'm very like I feel that we could have done so much better in free agency. I know people are gonna be like, what could we done better? And I know that this is gonna get people all crazy about this. But Gordon Hayward, I feel might have been a good fit. Though his contract, though his injury, I know people would be like that. But I feel that's a risk. Like I think that he could complement. He would be a good complement to the young players, and I feel that he would. We desperately need a shooter in a
Yeah,
small forward.
yeah. This is the way I look at free agency. Right now, the Knicks, for the last few years, we've been struggling, so it's been difficult for us to sign free agents. And I think that a lot of the top free agents, they want to go to a team that's winning. They don't want to come into a situation where it's a losing team. So it's been really difficult for us to sign free agents. And I think that we really need to just concentrate on developing our young guys and get them better. And once we get to a certain point where we're like maybe around 500, maybe make the playoffs like the Nets did that year with their young guys, and then
D'Angelo.
and then and then a big time free agents want to come. So I think that was part of it. Because I know we wanted Fred Van Vliet would have been a good option for us at point guard, and he elected to stay in Toronto. But think about it though, can you blame him? I mean, he's with a team that he won a championship with. They have a good young team. They have a good culture. And if he was going to get the money and they were going to pay him, why would you leave Toronto to come to a team that's still rebuilding? It didn't really make sense. So I kind
Yeah,
of understood why he didn't come.
I understand why people don't come to the Knicks, but it's still heartbreaking that, of course.
It is. It is very frustrating. Very
And
frustrating. I mean, you're a fan like I am. You know that we have one of the most passionate fan bases in the NBA. When we go
true.
to the Garden is electric. No matter what's the record, if the team is doing well, the building is alive. Madison Square Garden. There's no better place for me. I know I'm biased as a fan,
No,
but there's no better arena.
true.
I've traveled the NBA. I've been to different places. There's no better arena in the NBA. Even a lot of the players, they'll tell you that they love playing in the Garden. So
It's
that's one thing
just
that makes it
uh,
frustrating too.
it's just about the ownership. No, I'm not gonna be like the Dolan point through all of it, but we have to say that James Dolan, I feel we have to be honest, he's not a good owner. He just doesn't know what he's doing for basketball team. But I think he could at least make the team relevant. We did it with Amari and Melo and them. If that happened, trust me, we'd all be going crazy. Like at this point, I feel I feel like I get why you should rebuild in that, but what we need to do is we can't is if we're gonna rebuild, we have to rebuild quickly at this point. We need like
You tired of losing, Luke?
yeah, like for example, look at the Memphis Grizzlies and maybe if New Orleans added stars in that or not added like a good like mentors to the players. Look at teams like the Grizzlies, like how they just shifted from one era into like another. I feel that we need to rebuild quickly. That's the problem.
Well, the problem is we need these young players. We need them to become stars. The Grizzlies, they got John Morant. John Morant played great last year. He
Yeah.
was, the runner up. No, he was. I'm sorry, he was the rookie of the year
And
last
they
year.
were about to make the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
have
they will
Jaron.
next year.
They have Jaron Jackson Jr., another stud, who was a lottery pick. Their young players, they hit on their young players. So now they're going to get other players that's going to want to come play with them, and that's going to make them a contender. I mean, it's the same thing with Phoenix. They Devin Booker.
And
You
DeAndre
know, he,
James.
yeah, exactly. He's a great player, great young player. They did a nice job in the bubble.
Now
And
they have
now,
Chris Paul.
right, exactly. Now a guy like Chris Paul, who's a veteran, he says, okay, this is a team. If they add me, we can win. We could possibly, we could get in the playoffs, and we can win. So the Knicks, we need. I mean, think about it. We drafted Frank Ntilikina, we drafted Knox, high
RJ.
draft RJ, and now we got Obi. And we had KP, who did turn out to be an all-star, but then he got hurt, and then he wanted to leave, so that kind of set the franchise back. So we got to get one or two of these young guys to become stars.
I think that RJ will definitely be an all-star. And Obi, I can't say just yet, but I think that he will definitely be a problem in this league with under Tom Thibodeau's development. Yeah, and I feel that what the problem was last year was we instead of doing what a team like the Memphis Grizzlies did, we took the other route. We said, you know what, we'll sign a bunch of veterans. We'll put like when RJ could have been leading the team. So this year, if we can get rid of Julius Randle, I think this could be a great year for RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin. And I feel that the problem like last year, and now we have good coaching. No disrespect to David Fisdale now. Look, he can be a nice guy, but that means absolutely nothing.
You took a picture with him, right?
Yeah, I look. Let's be honest. I was a fan. I was sort of a fan of him, and I think lots of people were a fan of him when he started. But then I began to really get really off the hook in that with him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I mean, we can't take that away from him. I mean, when he came to New York, we thought that he was going to be able to, develop the young guys. We thought that his reputation from coaching with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and the big three down in Miami, we thought that he was going to bring some of that Heat culture to the Knicks, but for one reason or another, it just didn't work out for him. But that doesn't mean he's not a good guy. I wish him well. You know, so we'll see what happens with Tibbs. I mean, Tibbs is a good reputation. He did a nice job in Chicago with
And
the Bulls. He built that team up. I mean, I thought that he kind of underachieved in Minnesota with that roster, but I think part of it was because he was the general manager and the coach, and sometimes I think that's trying to do both jobs is difficult. So now he's coming to New York. He's only going to be the coach, so I think it'll be easier for him to just concentrate on what he does best, just coach the team.
yeah, I don't think this is like a Phil Jackson type situation. I think this is sort of like a different situation. Like, no, he's not out of it, but I feel like some people are saying, "Oh, this is just another big name gonna that came a little too late." My my thing is Phil Jackson. When he came in, did he have any GM experience? Absolutely not. But Tom Thibodeau has not just had coaching experience; he he does good at that, and that's what he's known for, not being a GM.
Right. Exactly. I think that was one of the problems of the when they hired Phil Jackson. He was a great coach. It would have been nice if we would have hired him as the coach.
Oh,
You
by
know,
far.
right?
I don't care. I take Phil Jackson any day as a coach.
Yeah, he's a legendary coach. We knew that. But they hired him for a job that he hadn't done before. And then also, it just seemed like he wasn't really into the job. It seemed like he didn't really work hard. You know,
He just threw a triangle offense at Derek Fisher, and then he had to. And the way he just handled the Carmelo Anthony situation was really poor.
yeah, that wasn't good. He tried to make Carmelo out to be the scapegoat, which I thought wasn't fair. I mean, I know, the best player always gets a lot of blame, but there was a lot to blame to go around on that team. And also the fact that he wanted the coaches to coach the triangle offense, but they didn't really want to, they weren't really sold on that offense. They didn't want to coach that. They wanted to coach their own way. So it was like he was trying to, he wanted them to coach the way he would coach. So I think that was another reason why it didn't work. He should have probably just coached the team. If you want to run the triangle, you were one of the great coaches at running it. You should have been the one that coached the team if that's what you
I
wanted.
I think that Melo he would have accepted the triangle if Phil did it the right way because Kobe Bryant accepted it, Michael Jordan accepted it, Shaq accepted it, Sky Pippen and Rodman even. Rodman like is crazy in that, but he accepted it.
Yeah, well, if he coached them directly. That's a big difference than you sitting upstairs and you telling somebody else to coach it, and they don't have the same experience as you do with the offense. So I mean, you could probably show them a few things here and there, but nobody could teach something to the level of expertise that he knew it, or Tex Winter, his guru.
Yep.
So it was tough, but I'm happy we got tips. I ain't gonna lie, I wanted Kenny Atkinson. I thought that he did a nice job with young guys in New Jersey. I mean, in Brooklyn,
The New
New
Jersey,
Jersey.
they're still New Jersey. I don't forget of them. I don't care if they are NBA Finals team while we're where we usually are as an organization. I don't care. They're still the New Jersey Nets, and we're the New York Knicks.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
They'll never own New York. That's one thing that I always tell the Net fans, that New York City is a Knicks town. I mean,
That's
the
how
Knicks they've been here. The Knicks they've been here since 1946. It's ingrained in the culture of New York City. When I grew up, it was like, it was all about the Knicks. Nobody cared about the Nets. You
no,
know, yeah. My father, he was a Knicks fan. My grandfather. It just goes through generations.
of course.
So yeah, that's something that it'll never change. I mean, they'll have their little small fan base. They have a lot of people, I guess, new people out in Brooklyn since they moved there that probably they're following the team. But ultimately, New York is a Knicks town. It'll always be a Knicks town.
Yep, it always will. And it's if you look at us, we're never leaving the team. And as long as us diehard fans never leave the team, we're gonna never the the Nets will never take New York from us.
No,
As
no.
long as the diehards stay, it doesn't matter. The
Yeah.
Nets have no chance with their fans.
It's guys like you are going to keep the tradition going. I mean, I've been a Knicks fan for 47 years, but now we got guys like you. You're so passionate at such a young age, so it's really good, to have,
Yeah, you got
young fans that's engaged like
yeah,
you.
like it's going from generation to generation. You look at me, you have people like Make Nick's Great again, Knicks fan TV, shout out to CP, of
A
course.
lot of people, a
Can go
lot of
on, Army fan, Anthony, of course,
Yep,
Mr. Legendary, you. Like, there's so many diehard Nick fans.
yep, yep. We have a great community, and it's always good when we run into each other. When we're at the Garden, when I see you, when I see, all the other everybody else. It's just like we're all connected in one way, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool in that, and I never take it for granted. Of course, never, because we're the best fans. People can say all they want, but we're still here. Yeah, we're still here. The casual fans might leave, but we're gonna always be here.
Always, no matter what, win or lose, we're gonna be fans. We're going through this tough period now, but when things turn around, it's gonna be really good because when New York wins, there's nothing like winning in New York. You
Yeah,
know, And when we go down that canyon of heroes and we have that parade, and then I'm gonna yell out, "Yo, Luke, we did it!"
of
We're gonna
course.
all be
Yeah,
we're all gonna be happy when we're at that parade. I'm gonna look for you when we're at that parade.
hopefully we won't be like hopefully we hopefully we'll hopefully we'll witness a championship before we all go. Yeah.
Well, for me, I don't. It's getting a little bit long. It's getting a little. I mean, I got some time to go, but for you, I would definitely hope they win by the time you go. You got a ways to go there, so they better win by then.
Yeah, 78 years. Yeah. So I really hope that they win sometime soon, you know.
They will. We just got to keep the faith, keep
Oh,
supporting. You know, I like what Leon Rose and his new regime. I like what they're doing so far. Hopefully, we just got to stay patient. That's it. I keep saying that. I mean, I know it's harder and harder to stay patient when you're losing year after year, but we just got to stay patient. Things are gonna turn around.
of
I
course.
really believe that.
Hopefully they do, because at this point we um we really need this organization to turn around.
Yep, absolutely. We need it to turn around. We need to get the excitement back in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what we desperately need. I definitely think that we really need a winning team at this point, and it would really mean the world for the Knicks to be winning to New York and that. And going into that, are you for a Russell Westbrook trade?
no, I wasn't a Russell Westbrook. I wasn't on board with that. I wanted Chris Paul because I thought Chris Paul would be more of a leader. He would be able to really help the young guys that like we talked about. But Westbrook, I mean, he's a great player. He's a great, from by all accounts, I hear he's a great teammate. But I think that you know, he's his game is based on athleticism, and he's starting to like lose it a little bit. He's getting up there like in age. He had some injuries, and he doesn't really shoot the ball too well. That's another thing that I was kind of leery about. But he's a great player. I take nothing away from him. I love watching him play. But I don't know if he was the right guy for the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't think he's the right. Um, I no, it was but I think that he is the guy. No, he's getting up there in age, but I think he could get us back to the playoffs and get us at least back on the map and maybe um. Uh, but if I think that this is real, like I know people are like, "Oh, we're the Knicks and we're never gonna get stars." But if we get a player, it was bad luck with Melo, but like, did they have any real chances with Melo to get a star really besides Chris Paul?
Uh
LeBron,
well,
but like he was never in real consideration for us. Like it's never like we took our all to get LeBron and pitched him.
yeah, I think they hitched their wagons to Amari Stoudemire and Melo. That was like the 1-2 combination, and they were hoping that they're bringing those two together, that that would be a winning tandem. And then when he started getting hurt, that really hampered us. They put a lot of money into him, gave him that $100 million contract, and he did good in the beginning. He did good. He was great in 2009. That first year, he was amazing. Right
Right.
before Melo came,
Yeah.
But then in the playoffs, he hurt his back. When we were playing the Celtics, he tried to dunk on a layup line and he hurt his back. He
That
cost us.
basically sums up Amari Stoudemire's career with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Fire extinguisher punches.
Right. Right.
Hit him on his knees. They went out.
Right. It was just one thing after another with him.
It's like the fire extinguisher punch, of course. Then he had like then he missed like the whole 2012-13 season. Then he came back in the playoffs and did nothing, and then he had sort of a resurgence in that 2013-14 season. But we were already just, it didn't matter because we weren't winning.
Yeah. Yep. That was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough.
That was a tough year in that. And
yeah, but that 2012-13 year that you said that was the first year that you became a fan.
Yep.
That was a great year.
Yeah, 54
yeah, right. When we had all the veterans. We had Jason Kidd, we had Rasheed Wallace,
Steve Novak,
of
course.
Kirk Thomas.
Of course, yeah. When he scored those games in Utah, remember that?
Yeah. On a broken foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that was huge.
Yeah, that was huge. And then who else did we have?
Chris Copeland.
Yeah, Quentin Richardson. Yeah, shout out to Chris Copeland.
Right. Yeah.
Quentin Richardson for a period, though he was like way past his prime. But
Pablo. We have Pablo Prigioni.
Marcus Camby somehow came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was basically like we brought like tons of like basically like took like basically got like we could have almost got Michael Jordan. We were pretty close to getting Michael Jordan back. If we were getting Jason Kidd at 40 years old and Rasheed Wallace and like Rasheed Wallace, he showed up in like sweatpants at training camp and
we were bringing
all out with a deal.
We were bringing all the veterans back. That was like, and no, they did a nice job. That was a good year. Well, Coach Woody, he did a nice job coaching that team. They shot a lot of 3-pointers.
Of course.
That year.
OG Warriors.
Yep.
Yep.
That was tough when they lost to the Pacers in the second round. I thought we had a better team than the Pacers.
Oh yeah, that was a real tough series in that. And then, I have to blame Tyson Chandler and J.R. Smith sort of for that because I feel that they had a real awful series, but Chris Copeland had a really good series.
Yes.
And Melo did his best. Melo, he still showed up always in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just the roster around him didn't. Like Amari was flat out done in the playoffs, and he's already done by December.
Yeah, and Tyson Chandler, he had an injured neck, and he got outplayed by Roy Hibbert. He gave us nothing in that series. And I think what really hurt us too was that when JR, when he got suspended against the prior series against Boston,
Oh
He got
yeah,
sus- he got suspended for a game, right? When he got into the altercation, I guess with Jason Terry, I believe it was.
yeah, it was. And then he like didn't he post a picture of him like somewhere out like with some like I think like Rihanna or something like that. Right
Yeah.
after, and that
So
was
that so then it took us longer for us to wrap up that series. We got extended because he got suspended. So that left us no time to recover to get ready for the next series. So if you remember, they lost that first game at home in the Garden against Indiana, and they never recovered from that.
game two was good and game one.
Game two was Game two was amazing. Game two
Love
was the
Trump.
game where Shumpert had that dunk. Remember that
Yep.
dunk? That
And game
putback dunk?
five, Melo was on fire with that those remember he had that clutch free and then he goes and like daps up Spike Lee and I think Patrick Ewing was at that game and it was wild and yeah.
Yep. So that was the last real excitement we had
And
around the
then
Garden. So I think it's time. I think it's time we need some new memories.
yeah, we do. It's and it's really sad for the this generation because you can only point to that season and maybe you could point to that Miami Heat series and that like that game 4. If you remember when Mel like he made that clutch free, JR had that crazy dunk and Dwayne Wade missed the game winner. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, that was like the only like other memorable like playoff game that
Yep,
in
that's
in the
true.
in this new era of of the New York Knicks. Yeah, in this generation for fans. But that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. Yeah, that your only memories were was one playoffs.
Yep. Yep. It's for a team like New York to be playing in this city, with the money that the owner has, we have all the resources here. You would think that by now we would have a good team, and then we just been spinning our wheels all these years. But
If you
like
look
I said,
at LA, you look at Miami winning, you look at yeah, you see teams like Miami, LA, you see Chicago definitely had something for a while and they're rebuilding, but they're gonna I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple years they're back on the map. They're going through a tough time now, but they'll be back. It's they might take a little time for them, but they'll be back on the map. Chicago, but
yeah,
like
they're like
all these
us.
teams,
They're
uh,
like us though. They've been struggling for a while though. I mean, but at least they had a great. I mean, they got 6 rings. So they're gonna
yeah, they
struggle.
had they had like they have recent playoff memories. They had the Derrick Rose games. You had your moments with Jimmy Butler. You had recent playoff memories for the Bulls and for Boston. You see the Celtics; they're always winning. You can every year the Celtics are in it. Let's be honest. Like, um, no matter what, the Celtics are always in the playoffs. And they no they no they might not win every year, but they always are in the playoffs, and they always have some new memories to point to, whether that's the Jason Tatum guarding up LeBron and uh, J- Terry Rozier and even like this past playoffs in that when they had a tight series with I think who did they play? They played Miami and the Raptors and
Miami, that was yeah. The Raptors too. Oh my God, that was a great series.
yeah.
Won 7 games.
So they even have their moments in that. Yeah.
Yep. Well, they're a well-run organization. Danny Ainge,
Yep.
who's their team president, who used to play for the Celtics. He has a reputation as being a really smart guy, and his reputation is that you better be careful if you trade with him because he wants to rip you off of all your good players. He's really, but no, their organization has been good. So we got to get back to that. We got to get back.
Dallas, um, with Dirk and now with Luka and them.
Yep.
Um,
It's all right. Our time will be coming.
Yep. Hopefully that we can get a winning team at some point. It's so hard to be a fan of this team, but we still here. We're still repping. We're gonna keep on repping for this team and that. So, how do you like the Alec Burks signing in that?
Alex Burks. I like him. I actually was following him last year. He started out the year with Golden State.
He was on. He played good at the beginning of the year. But I don't know if that was really because Golden State had nobody.
Right. Golden State had nobody. Then because of the injuries, they gave him an opportunity to play. And he really did a nice job with them. And then they traded him to Philly. And the reason why they traded him to Philly wasn't that he wasn't good. It was just that they wanted to try to trade D'Lo to Minnesota, and they wanted to get Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins' contract is really big. So in order to fit him in, they needed cap room. So they traded him to Philly. And my brother, he's been watching the Sixers, and he had told me, watch this guy. He's really good. Check him out. So I really zeroed in on him this year and watched him when I saw the Sixers play. And he's really good. He's a good player. I think that, he can score. He can score the basketball. He drives to the rim. I think that he could help us. He could be a player coming off the bench that he could really give us some nice energy coming off the bench.
Yep. Wait. So I feel that also, that I get about the Alec Burks way. I get that he put up some good numbers, but I feel that what he did with remember what we had with Tim Hardaway and that when he was having a really good season, but we weren't winning any games. I kind of look at him as a good player, as a player just putting up good stats on a bad team, just trying to play for a new contract, and he just got an opportunity in that.
Could be. I mean, that does happen. I mean, I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that he wants to be a part of a resurgence in New York, and that I know that he was drafted by the Jazz, and Walt Perrin, who is our top scout now, had a hand and drafted him in Utah. So he knows him on a personal level. So I think that he would know a lot about his character, what kind of guy he is. So I think that also played a part in getting him to the team. So I would tend to guess that he's a team player, that he wants to win.
Yeah, I really like the Nerns Noel sign.
Noel's going to be good.
Yeah.
Noel is a pogo stick. That guy, man, he can jump to the moon. So I think he'll be good for Mitch, because him and Mitch have a lot of the similarities in their games, and the fact that he's been in the league a little bit longer, he should be able to teach Mitch a couple of tricks that may help him out, and just having the two of them, having two big guys who can block shots and protect the rim, I think that's going to be good for our last line of defense. If the point guards get beat up top, and then the player, you have him driving toward the basket, and you have those two guys back there, I think that's going to be good. If Mitch gets in foul trouble, you got another guy who can come in, who can still protect the rim.
Of course. I feel that as I feel that what Mitch can do with Nerns Noel, I feel that he can have something that like some really good chemistry with him. And I'm really a fan of the Amari Spellman trade and Jacob Evans, and that was like we basically ripped off the Wolves. We just gave Ed Davis. We were like, goodbye, Ed Davis, and we got 3 second round picks, which say what you want, but I think that could be great trade bait or something for if we wanna get a good player in that. I think that that could be an asset we can add to a trade. And plus with that, though I wouldn't trade this guy, Amari Spellman and Jacob Evans. No, what you were mentioning that Amari Spellman needs to get a little more fin in that, but I think that he has lots of potential.
I agree. He does. And that was a shrewd trade by the Knicks because the day before they had just traded for Ed Davis, and in order to pick up his $5 million salary, the Jazz gave us 2 second round picks in the deal. They gave us those two assets. Then we turned around a day later and trade him to Minnesota for another second round pick. So that was like something that you didn't see with the old Knicks regime as far as taking on assets, for taking on a contract that another team may not want. And for doing that, you get some assets. So that was a good thing to see that this new regime that they're thinking that way because the more assets that we accumulate, that could help us down the road when we're looking to get a big time free agent or we're looking to bring other players to the team. So that's definitely a good sign that this new regime that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely huge for the team to make trades like that. I feel that can really help the team, and I think that yeah, no, I'm not gonna get crazy about it, but gotta get like gotta give credit where credit's due to Leon Rose. So how do you feel about? I know it's very early still, but how do you feel about Leon Rose so far? Do you think that he is do you think he's good? Do you think he's okay, or do you think he's bad?
I think he's good. I think he's good. So far, he's been good. I mean, we did. I thought we had a good draft.
Emmanuel
You know,
quickly also.
right? Yeah, we got him. Kid from Kentucky. He can really shoot the ball. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Um, you know, I know he didn't get the big free agent, which he really wanted to, but I really don't blame him for that because a lot of guys just don't want to come here right now because we're not a good team. So I like the fact that he didn't panic and go out and just throw big money
At like
at not
Julius Randle.
right at
I feel
non-star type players. He made some nice value contract deals like the Austin Rivers free agent pickup 3 years for 10 million. That's a steal. For a rotation player, a player that could come in and can help us. And who knows, he might even wind up being a starter for
like,
us.
hopefully,
So
hopefully,
so far I like what he's doing. I mean, we got a long way to go. I mean, it's just the beginning. But I want to give him a chance. Like anybody else who gets the job. I don't want to judge him prematurely and say that he's not doing anything when you got to give him time to put his roster together, put his team together, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
so what do you predict that the Knicks record this season with the roster we have right now?
With the roster we have right now, I don't see us as a playoff team.
I don't.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I would say there's only 72 games this year, so 36 would be 500. So I would probably put us somewhere in the 25 win range.
Yeah, I think
So
that no, I'm not. I that well, if you I'm not I feel that we really can't afford another tanking season. We can't. That's not good for our young players to put them in a losing culture. Hey, you could not be the like I think that at this point I think that maybe a 30 win for you should try to aim for a 31 35 win season.
Well, 35 wins. They're like that's going to put them in the playoffs most likely. Also, you got to remember too, this year I think 10 teams from each conference is going to make the playoffs. They're going to have that playing tournament.
I'm all for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't. Again, I don't see the Knicks making the playoffs. So, I don't think they're going to tank. I think they're going to go out there and definitely try to win. I just want to see some improvement from these young guys. I really expect a lot from RJ this year. I think RJ is going to take his game to another level, having some better players around him, having some better coaching, having better spacing. We got more guys who can shoot the ball. So I think that should help him, free up the lane for him. I want to see improvement by all our young guys. I want to see Mitch take another step forward. I'm curious to see if Kevin Knox and Dennis Smith Jr., what's going to happen with them. Will they get the playing time? Will they be able to, bring their games up? All of these guys were high draft picks. We need them to play better. For us to be successful, we got a lot of young guys with potential on that roster that haven't really been living up to their potential.
Yeah, I think that what it is when it comes to like us as an organization is we need to be competitive. That's the big thing. So do you think they'd make a play-in tournament of like 10 teams in the Eastern Conference?
I mean,
Because
I don't see it. I don't see it right now, but that doesn't mean that they can't. I mean, if they gel, if they play, if they come together and they gel and guys, really improve, there's there's some guys on that roster. We just don't know how good they're going to be. So, I mean, with Coach Tibbs, I know he's definitely going to try to win games. So, I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that one.
I
But I'm
think
not
it's
predicting it.
I think that it if that's like if they have a really good season and they Tom Thibodeau goes out there and does what he's supposed to do and get Obi Toppin and them well in that, I think they could have a chance. And I'm sure that they'll be competitive towards that play in tournament. I'm sure that they'll definitely but with weak East, of course. But I feel they're not gonna make it unless they unless unless like they get like a really unless they have a really good season. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't think so, but that would be a pleasant surprise if they do. But if they don't, I mean, we could look forward to next year's draft. It's supposed to be a really strong draft.
Don't
You know,
every year.
you know, that kid Cade Cunningham,
Uh,
he's supposed to be like a superstar type player. If we could get lucky in one of these drafts and get a stud like that, that would really help us get good fast.
um,
You know, so
ugh. At this point, with the draft and that, I'm sick of playing this game. We just like I know it is what it is and that's the best we can hope for, but at this point, just go out there, prove something. No predictions, no draft, no free agency. The no, I'm not saying go stop drafting that, but let's build. Let's build for one. So let's stop worrying about who we're gonna get as our pick for next year, and let's build on. Let's build. Don't keep the bar low, and let's try to win games.
no,
And
I agree with you. I agree with you. You know,
we're
we're not tanking.
yeah.
We're not trying to lose on purpose. I'm not saying any of that. We're not looking backwards. We're looking to get better. We're looking to win games. We're looking for guys to improve over last year, and we'll just see. We'll just see where it ends up at, and you just go from there. And then the next year you pick it up, and then you try to get better. You just want to keep getting better, a little better, incrementally better every year. And then once you get to a certain point where you're like almost like a 500 team, or you make the playoffs as an 8 seed, then you're going to get some of these free agent guys going to be like, hey, why not go to New York? New York seems like they got their act together. You know, if I go and play with that team, we may have a shot to make a deep playoff run, and then that's when we'll get somebody in the free agent market.
Yeah, I really would. Yeah, I'm mad about it. But what we need to do is, if we're struggling, we need to get it. Um, like we can't. When you wave the white flag, if we're so pretend we're winning. No, pretend we're losing, and we're not getting better than we were last year. Do you wave the white? Do you wave the white flag on the rebuild?
Uh no, I don't think you can. I don't. No, you got to stay the course. You know, no matter what the record is, you got to keep trying to develop. You got to keep trying to win games. And just you just got to keep plugging away. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I feel that what the Knicks need to do is they need to be what they need to do is they need to trade like they I think that I don't call it on the rebuild, but that if we don't like if we're not improving, then you have to, I feel. If you're seeing tiny improvements, okay. But if you're not improving and your young players what's this what I'm not happy about the rebuild is because last year I didn't really see any of the players getting better. And that was and I was and if like I feel that is not a promising sign
Right.
of where they're gonna end up in that. Though you want to stay the course, of course, but you need to at the end of the day there needs to be a balance between we can't just sit here and tank all these years.
No.
We can't there needs to be we need to keep a boundary of patience. It's one thing if you're doing a more like I'm fine with a Memphis Grizzlies rebuild, but I'm not fine with the rebuild we put in place under David Fizdale. I was I wasn't fine with that because I felt that um I felt that you can't just say patience. Go out there and prove something, and that's what David Fizdale didn't do. You can say all this stuff about the rebuild and get young players, but if you're not going out there and proving the team, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think you're getting anything out of the rebuild.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see that this year, though. I really think that the guys that they brought in is really going to help the young guys get better. And, like I said, RJ, I really think RJ is going to have a really good year. That's going to really help the team. So, I think that, I think we're going to see some improvement this year. Tibbs, he's a demanding coach. He's not going to just sit back and let guys slack off. He's going to demand that they hustle and they, play hard on the defensive end and don't give up on games. So that alone should keep us competitive. As long as we maintain a competitive spirit, that's good. Then we can continue to build and grow in the right direction.
Yep. Thank you, Greg, for coming on. It's always great having you. I know. Yeah, I know we had a great long conversation. And yeah, go check out Greg. GS Strong, right?
Yep, G Strong with the zero on Instagram.
You know,
Greg Armstrong 01
of course.
at Greg Armstrong 01 on Twitter.
Yup.
And thanks for having me on, Luke. And
Always. Always.
I can't wait to see you back at the Garden.
Always.
All
Can't
right,
wait.
take care, man.
Always. Yeah. Keep believing. Take care.
Yep.